I'm Cindy Briggs, and this is Soldier's Heart. It's a Sunday like any other, early December, the second Sunday in Advent. Roll out of bed early, light the stove, read the newspaper, dress for worship. A good excuse to wear the special red winter coat, the festive tie. Afterwards, lunch with the whole family. More food on the table now that the Great Depression is finally lifted. So much to be thankful for. The troubles of the world are a world away. A lazy afternoon ahead, perhaps a nap. Snap on the radio, finish the newspaper. A Sunday like any other.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press. Flash, Washington. The White House announces Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
At 2:30 p.m., CBS Radio interrupts with a news report. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor. The USS Arizona is in flames. For most, the first question that arose in their minds was, where is Pearl Harbor? It was December 7th, 1941.
No, I grew up in Old Mystic, Connecticut. I spent my 18 years there, at least, until I was drafted.
Yeah.
At the age of 18. And then the whole world changed. What happened is, before the war, we were going through the Great Depression, which everybody was out of work. Factories had closed down, and the mill had closed in our town, so they had to have a kitchen and feed them every day to make sure that everybody was fed, but the whole town was like that. And surrounding towns, because it was all mills in Connecticut at the time, and Rhode Island. So we had a real tough time, and I think people used to come to the door begging, looking for food, but they would work for the food if we put something on the table. So that happened all the time, for several years. Well, I played football, so I enjoyed that. I did artwork also.
Did you?
And I had a situation where I did some paintings, and they were sent to a national jury, and I won the Connecticut first prize. So they had an assembly for me, 500 kids cheering. That was not a typical day.
That's a good memory.
Yeah.
So you were going through high school, playing football, making art, having kind of your ordinary life, and then Pearl Harbor happened. What do you remember about that day?
Well, I remember it was really interesting. I remember I had to go to church that day. It was on a Sunday, because I had to ring the bell for church. That is, in the afternoon, there was something going on. If there's something important, I'd ring the bell. And I'd heard about, I looked it on the map, Japanese attacked, and I said, oh, this little tiny island, what are they doing? Attacking us, and so forth. And I was a little worried because my uncle was in Hawaii at the time. He was on a ship in Hawaii, yeah. So we found out about all that, and it was, I remember it pretty much so, and I think maybe I was about 16 or something like that. I never knew I'd be in the war.
One of 9 boys and 2 girls, and I'm the only one that's still around. all 9 boys wore a uniform of some sort except one. And he had asthma from birth, I reckon. But all of us wore a uniform of some sort, the 8 of us out of the 9. Farm family.
Mm-hmm. So your dad was a farmer?
No, that's all he knew. Tobacco farmer.
So what do you remember about growing up on the farm?
Well, it was so different that it would be hard for some of you younger people to even realize. You see, I came along in 25, and I was about 4, 5, 6 years old during the Depression. So it was rough, and particularly on the farm.
What's something that you would do when you were growing up? Just something you guys would do for fun. How did you play together?
Every time we get a chance in the summertime, we come out of that tobacco field, and even we'd head for the river. We owned a 119-acre farm. We had we called it bottomland, and it was of course, it went down real low where the river was. You had to go down a hill to get into that bottomland. There was about 18, 20, I don't remember now, big field, and the river ran almost all the way around it. So we hit that river. That's what, and we played ball and the cow pasture ball. We amused ourselves in some fashion. We had a good time growing up. It was rough early on, you know. My dad didn't have any education. He could read and write his name, and that was about it. He couldn't read the paper or the Bible. I've said a lot of times, even during those years in the Southwest Pacific, you get kind of homesick, kept thinking about Mom. See, I just turned 18 in August and December. I was in the Army. And in September, I was in New Guinea. I saw my 19th birthday in the jungles of New Guinea.
Well, I came from a family of 4 boys, and so after Pearl Harbor, 2 of my brothers then right away. They were not married. One joined the Navy and one joined the Coast Guard. My oldest brother was married and had a family. So he waited and he was drafted later on. So then some of the people was wondering, how come I'm still around here? So there was a few of us that hadn't been drafted yet or had been rejected. So we went over to see and about joining the Merchant Marine. So I was one of the few that passed the examination. So then that's how I got into the Merchant Marine.
To what do you attribute the success of the United States in World War II?
Well, I guess there's more than one reason. One very important one was the strength of our nation, both morally and militarily, and the way we could gear up to do certain things quickly. So I think that we made a war machine that was never been done before, and of course we were behind the 8 ball for a long time trying to catch up, and the people volunteering, amazing in that time. Women, everybody just got on board. We knew it was going to be tough work, but we did it. It took a long time. But that's the strength of the nature of the nation.
A special thank you to the veterans who shared their stories in this chapter. Jack Desley, Navy. Corbett Walters, Army. Elwin Carew, Merchant Marines. Alan Peterson, Navy. Soldier's Heart is written and produced by me, Cindy Briggs, and features veteran stories from North Carolina. We honor vets by listening to their stories. You can follow along on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Soldier's Heart NC. If you have an idea for a story or interview, email us at soldiersheartnc@gmail.com. Special thanks to the Winston-Salem Muse of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where all these stories are archived. You can learn more about the museum at musews.org. That's musews.org.